Satoshi is a long-term video and audio anthology, retelling the story of Satoshi day by day. We'll read through and revisit the conversations Satoshi had with cypherpunks, rebels, and builders alike, and try to retrace Satoshi's digital steps. Join us as we explore Bitcoin and the breadcrumbs its inventor left behind. By early November 2008, Satoshi had received a few negative emails from James Donald doubting Bitcoin's abilities. James, as you will soon find, is a consistent reply guy to these early Bitcoin conversations on the cryptography mailing list. James is somewhat annoying, but it's probably important to understand what Satoshi was reading at the time, since these messages are addressing him directly and may have influenced Satoshi's actions and thinking. This next email by James is very lengthy, but touches on a couple libertarian viewpoints that are interesting but rather nihilistic. We'll also read Satoshi's hopeful response to this email. James sent the following meandering essay on November 3rd. He started by addressing Satoshi's claim that users can run lightweight nodes to protect against double spending. Quote,
"If I understand simplified payment verification correctly, new coin issuers need to store all coins and all recent coin transfers. There are many new coin issuers, as many as want to be issuers, but far more coin users. Ordinary entities merely transfer coins. To see if a coin transfer is okay, they report it to one or more new coin issuers and see if the new coin issuer accepts it. New coin issuers check transfers of old coins so that their new coins have valid form, and they report the outcome of this check so that people will report their transfers to the new coin issuer. If someone double spends a coin and one expenditure is reported to one new coin issuer and the other simultaneously reported to another new coin issuer, then both issuers to swiftly agree on a unique sequence order of payments. This, however, is a non-trivial problem of a massively distributed, massive database, a notoriously tricky problem, for which there are at present no peer-to-peer solutions. Obviously, it is a solvable problem. People solve it all the time, but not an easy problem. People fail to solve it rather more frequently. But let us suppose that the coin issue network is dominated by a small number of issuers, as seems likely. If a small number of entities are issuing new coins, this is more resistant to state attack than with a single issuer. But the government regularly attacks financial networks, with the financial collapse ensuing from the most recent attack still underway as I write this. Government-sponsored enterprises enter the business. In due course, bad behavior is made mandatory, and the evil financial network is bigger than the honest financial network, with the result that even though everyone knows what is happening, people continue to use the paper issued by the evil financial network because of network effects. The big, main issuers are the issuers you use if you want to do business. Then knowledgeable people complain that the evil financial network is heading for disaster, that the government-sponsored enterprises are about to cause a collapse of the total financial system. As Wallison and Alan Greenspan complained in 2005, the government debates shrinking the evil government-sponsored enterprises, as with S-190, Federal Housing Enterprise Regulatory Reform Act of 2005. But they find easy money too seductive, and S-190 goes down in flames before a horde of political activists chanting that easy money is sound and opposing it is racist, Nazi, ignorant, and generally hateful. The recent S-190 debate on limiting portfolios, bond issue supporting dud mortgages by government-sponsored enterprises being a perfect reprise of the debates on limiting the issue of new assignats in the 1790s. The big and easy government attacks on money target a single central money issuer, as with the first of the modern political attacks, the French assignat of 1792. But in the late 19th century, political attacks on financial networks began, as for example the Federal Reserve Act of 1913, the goal always being to wind up the network into a single, too-big-to-fail entity. And they have been getting progressively bigger, more serious, and more disastrous, as with the most recent one. Each attack is hugely successful, and after the cataclysm that the attack causes, the attackers are hailed as saviors of the poor, the oppressed, and the nation generally. And the blame for the bad consequences is dumped elsewhere, usually on Jews, greedy bankers, speculators, etc., because such attacks are difficult for ordinary people to understand. I have trouble understanding your proposal. Ordinary users will be easily bamboozled by a government-sponsored security update. Further, when the crisis hits, to disagree with the line, to doubt that the regulators are right, and the problem is the evil speculators, becomes political suicide, as it did in America in 2007, sometimes physical suicide, as in Weimar Germany. Still, it is better and more resistant to attack by government-sponsored enterprises than anything I have seen so far. In regards to your comments about the resilience and bandwidth of the Bitcoin network, if there were 100 or 1,000 money issuers by the time the government attacks, the kind of government attacks on financial networks that we have recently seen might well be more difficult. But I think we need to concern ourselves with minimizing the data and bandwidth required by money issuers. For small coins, the protocol seems wasteful. It would be nice to have the full protocol for big coins, and some shortcut for small coins, wherein people trust account-based money for small amounts, till they get wrapped up into big coins. The smaller the data storage and bandwidth required for money issuers, the more resistant the system is to the kind of government attacks on financial networks that we have recently seen.
3 days later, on Thursday, November 6th, Satoshi replied back to James, describing his last email as a, quote, lengthy exposition of the vulnerability of a system to use of force monopolies elided, and that James was claiming you will not find a solution to political problems in cryptography. Satoshi then wrote in response to this claim, yes, but we can win a major battle in the arms race and gain a new territory of freedom for several years. Governments are good at cutting off the heads of centrally controlled networks like Napster, but pure peer-to-peer networks like Gnutella and Tor seem to be holding their own. Satoshi.
A day after Satoshi sent this email to James, the moderator of the cryptography mailing list, Perry E. Metzger, sent out this, quote, edict of the day, warning James and Satoshi to limit their political discussions. Quote, a bunch of people seem anxious to branch the discussion of cryptographic cash protocols off into a discussion of the politics of money. I'm a rabid libertarian myself, but this isn't the rabid libertarian mailing list. Please stick to discussing either the protocols themselves or their direct practicality, and not the perils of fiat money, taxation, your Aunt Mildred's gold coin collection, etc. Perry.
If you want to support more of this kind of content, visit shopbitcoin.shop.